You know me as the host of the Too Busy to Eat show, but I'm also founder and CEO of Too Busy to Eat, the protein bar company. I make what I feel is the healthiest and best tasting protein bar on the market. So now that developed from my own frustration of not being able to find a bar that tasted good and that was extremely healthy, that I could have maybe multiple times a day if I was really busy, or I could feed my kids and not feel guilty about what they ate. So I created this bar with grass-fed whey protein, no more than 3 grams of sugar, which is all naturally occurring, and it's gluten-free, non-GMO, the list goes on. So don't take my word for it. I want you to try them. And I want to give you incentive to try them. So I'm going to give you 20% off your first order. You can get a sample bag of bars, or you can get a whole box, whatever you want. Go to my website, toobusytoeat.com. Not hard to remember. Show, the company. And enter the promo code TBTE Show. TBTE Show. Actually, it's a discount box when you check out, and you get 20% off your first order, no matter how small or large. So go to the website now, try them out, and then let me know what you think. Welcome to the Too Busy to Eat show. Today, we have Dr. Carolyn Dean on the show. I don't even know where to start. Her biography alone is 125 pages. So I can't give that all to you, but she is a medical doctor and a naturopathic doctor. She's been called the doctor of the future. Just an amazing credentialed person, has done so many things to change people's health all over the world. So without further delay, let's get to Dr. Dean. Well, Dr. Dean, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to be on the Too Busy to Eat show. So thank you and welcome.
Oh, mahalo and aloha.
From Maui, and that's so exciting. I wish I was with you.
I know. Everybody does.
I know. We're all jealous for sure. Now, so without a doubt, you're the most educated and accomplished person, not only that I've interviewed, but probably I've ever met. So it took 25 pages to list your accomplishments and your credentials, which is just mind-blowing. But tell us a little bit about that journey to where you are today. I mean, kind of what you went through to get there.
Well, when I was a teenager, I started getting interested in nutrition. My boyfriend, who's now my husband of 50 odd years, we were traveling from Nova Scotia. We traveled out to California. And instead of getting involved with the drug culture in the 60s, I got involved with the nutrition culture. I started meeting Pavel Irola, started looking at Prevention Magazine, started reading about health and nutrition. And when I went back to school after traveling, I was doing biology, and then I was still interested in nutrition, but nobody would listen to me. I'd say, you've got to exercise, you got to eat. I was living in a city where we didn't even have a health food store. Right. Back then. So in biology, one day, a couple of guys that I knew, they said, "Have you been accepted?" And I thought, I feel pretty accepted. What's up? And they had just been accepted into medical school. And I was shocked. These were just kids. I was already a few years older because I had traveled. Right. And I just marched right over to the dean of medicine and said, "What do I need to apply for medical school? Something's got to be done about this." Yeah. So who did I bump into but my high school guidance counselor, Miss Elliott, who had counseled me to be an executive secretary or a nurse. Right. So I said, you've got some splaining to do. And it turned out she was on the medical acceptance committee, she knew me, and I eventually got in. I mean, it wasn't without some anguish, because the third year medical students who interviewed me thought I was a Pollyanna because I stated that I thought I could help people. Right. And by third year, they knew full well you cannot help anybody in medicine. You just kind of watch them decline as you're giving them drugs. But anyway, that's my story, and I'll stick by it. See, what happens with a lot of people who go into medical school with ideals and think they can help people, with nutrition and all that, it's soul destroying for one thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing about prevention. Everything that's not to do with drugs and surgery is put down.
Right.
It's called quackery. If, someone thinks you can do something with chiropractic or,
right.
Even lifestyle. So anyway, I stuck to my guns, and as soon as I started practicing, I was practicing as a naturopath. And during my internship, I was doing naturopathic training. So with my medical background and my naturopathic background, I chose naturopathy.
Yeah.
So, I practiced under my MD license as a naturopath, and I was swamped. I mean, within months, I was swamped. I had to immediately cut back my hours because I would have burnt out.
Right.
So I've had a pretty exciting time. I mean, again, fraught with a lot of attacks, and they really do try to harm doctors who are doing anything outside of the standard practice, and that's why you do not see practicing doctors talking about alternatives, because they will be attacked.
Right.
So thank goodness for shows like yours, Greg, where people can get up-to-date information. So
right. Thank you for updating our information. You have, it's interesting because you're before your time in a lot of different ways. Being, first of all, at that stage, being a woman going into medicine, and then you overcame multiple obstacles at once. You just kind of just popped right over them. But
I was the one who put the nude male slides in the projector. At med school, because the 2 days before, the clinician had the nude female slides because there were so few women in the class, right? So it was all, get the men. Oh my gosh! So I had the nude male slides. So I changed that school in one fell swoop.
Yes.
Without any fighting or any marches or anything. That changed everything.
Yeah. That's brilliant. Well, and so all your background and your training and all the things you've done, what are some of the key principles that have popped up for you, for somebody trying to reclaim their health? Because most people aren't healthy. They're trying to maybe get there a little bit, but what are some principles that popped up for you?
Well, rather than go philosophic, I'd rather just go straight to practical.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
what I realized over the years is that as doctors got into alternatives, they brought all their allopathic mindset with them.
Right.
So they would look at symptoms, and instead of giving drugs, they'd be so, excited that they could give supplements. Right. So you end up, with a whole list of, here's your symptoms. Well, here's a supplement for each of your symptoms.
Right.
So it's still polypharmacy. I had one person whose nutritionist had her on 300 to 500 supplement pills a day.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. I mean, I have it written.
Yeah.
So, and she was, ill from taking all those, swallowing all those pills. She had, terrible indigestion.
Oh, gosh.
So you cannot be a green allopath.
Right.
And that's what these folks transition to. And then, my major focus has been minerals. I was asked by Random House when I lived in Manhattan in the late 90s to write a book on magnesium, and come to find out that I was suffering from severe magnesium deficiency myself. Right. Heart palpitations, leg cramps, back pain, insomnia, the computer muscles up here.
Yes, yeah.
And then the second thing I realized when I was doing the research for the book is as I was taking more magnesium, I was getting the laxative effect from even one pill of magnesium.
Right.
So I came across this percentage of people who, even if they know they're magnesium deficient, if they try to take most magnesiums, they get the laxative effect and actually flush out more magnesium and get sicker. Right. So for 10 years, I tried to find a company who would work with me and make a non-laxative magnesium. And I only found that company a couple of years ago. So here I was educating people for decades and giving out information and writing about magnesium and many, many other things.
Sure.
And, words. And, that it came to a point even after I did a 2-year online wellness program with lots of words. And, when the crash came in 2008, people just went hysterical and said,
right.
Don't give me any more words. Just tell me what to take.
Yeah.
And I began, researching more and more, what should people take? And from my experience, lecturing and working clinically with people, everybody was suffering the same thing. If you looked at the autistic community, it was digestion, it was hormones, it was leaky gut,
Right.
all the things lined up. Every specialty, they all were suffering interrelated symptoms. When you look at a book on thyroid now, hypothyroid, they'll say, oh yeah, just give replacement hormone therapy,
Right.
make it natural. So it was never about what's the underlying nutrition about thyroid and what are the minerals. And just sidebar on thyroid, they'll say it's associated with leaky gut, infections,
Right.
and anxiety and all these symptoms. But when I look at the thyroid, I look at the 9 minerals that are necessary for the thyroid to work properly, and I give them to people. And I don't give them as 9 different bottles of dirt minerals.
Right.
What I realized, as I said, is we really need to get supplements that are absorbed, fully absorbed, so that the body can utilize them as if they were food.
Right.
Food no longer has minerals.
Right.
I wrote a blog recently called "Food is Not Medicine." The
Right.
old books, let food be your medicine.
Right,
We totally wish it would.
I know.
But it's been farmed out. I have people who are on 40 ounces of green drink a day. They're eating raw. They're doing everything perfect. They still have heart palpitations, leg cramps, magnesium deficiency symptoms because the soil is depleted.
Yeah.
So we've got this whole segment of people who think they're doing the right thing by prescribing replacement therapy, not realizing they need the minerals. We've got a segment who they, okay, yes, I need my minerals, I'll eat green. They're not getting their minerals. So, by happenstance and by decades of research and work and just the love of what I do and my own health condition, it's very selfish what I did. I found this way of creating a super concentrated magnesium. It's in liquid form right now. We're working on pills and capsules, but it has to be super concentrated, very high absorption rate. It's probably 100% absorbed.
Right.
And it's a stabilized ion of magnesium. So what that means is instead of the magnesium and the chloride ions separating and coming back together, separating, coming back together in a millisecond,
Right.
The stabilizing allows the magnesium ion to stay separate for long enough to be absorbed into the cells.
Right.
So as you put it in your mouth, it's absorbing. So it's spectacular in the therapeutic value. I've got people who've been forced to take intravenous magnesium because they're so deficient, yet they can't take it by mouth because they get the laxative effect. People who've been living with what they call ports in their arm or in their neck, in their vena cava, in order to get enough magnesium, they take these IVs 3-4 times a week. So now they can switch to a liquid oral. ReMag is the name of the product. And I mean, their life just changes. I have people who say, you saved my life. And I suppose it's true. But, I'm so happy that I'm able to do this. And it's really about the absorption. If it could be in our food, that's great. And right now I'm focusing my extracurricular work on supporting a farm.
Right.
My farmer is biodynamic, organic, uses rock dust,
Right.
and we're using one of our products, like the waste part of our RNA drops made from barley sprouts. We're using our waste product on the plants, and getting an increase of about 20%.
Oh, wow.
On top of everything. So, if we can, duplicate that sort of result, then we could start depending on our food, rely on our food more. But in the meantime, people need to take supplemental magnesium and other minerals.
Right. So I want to definitely talk more about the meds, but is the whole reason behind it just the minerals have been farmed out because over the years, there are bad practices, our soil's bad? Because I've heard this before. Now I've had my own magnesium deficiency, so I've been through this. This is really fascinating. So you're saying these things, heart palpitations, leg cramps. I'm like, oh my gosh. But, and it's it's really just the soil. Is that?
There's a lot. It's like the perfect storm.
Okay.
So there's the soil, and then the processing of food.
Right. Okay.
Nobody really eats raw anymore, except the raw fanatic, which we are.
Yeah.
And then there's the drugs.
Yeah.
And what happens there is, as you get your magnesium deficiency symptoms, they appear, heart, migraines, blood pressure, diabetes. And what happens when you go into your doctor and your blood pressure's up? Well, the 30% of people that go to the doctor have white coat syndrome, so their blood pressure is going to be
already up. Yeah.
When they look at this doctor who's going to,
machinery and all. Yeah. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Who's going to define them as having some life-threatening disease. So blood pressure's up. The doctor has, 7 maximum minutes with you. Oh, your blood pressure's up. It's been up a couple times. We better put you on a diuretic. What does a diuretic do? It pulls out your fluids and your minerals.
Right.
You come back in a month and blood pressure's worse. And the doctor said, oh, we caught your blood pressure just in time. Here's 2 more drugs.
Right.
And 3 months later, you're back for blood tests to make sure those drugs aren't killing your liver. And lo and behold, you have high cholesterol and you have high blood sugar caused by the drugs.
Right.
But the doctor says, we caught this just in time. Damn, this happens so much. I see it all the time is, people get blood pressure and then these things happen. They do not realize that the drugs they're giving, most of them actually are fluoride drugs.
Okay.
People don't realize this, but in order to make drugs stronger and be able to get through the fatty membranes of our cells more efficiently, they attach fluoride to these drugs. Just look at them all, the Lipitors, even drugs for heart palpitations and arrhythmias there's one that has 6 fluoride molecules. Oh. What does fluoride do besides poison you? It binds with magnesium. So when it binds with magnesium, that isn't even the worst of it, because that compound, magnesium fluoride, deposits in tendons, in bones, and in cartilage. Yeah. And what do we have with the drug Cipro? It's an antibiotic. It is a fluoride molecule. It has a black box warning, FDA black box warning for tendon rupture.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So what's the fluoride and magnesium doing? Creating this brittle compound, deposits in your tendons. You get a muscle cramp from the increasing magnesium deficiency, and you tear your tendon. And nobody's talking about this. And I've been on forums or whatever, and people say, oh, well, in the lab, these drugs do not break down. They do not release the fluoride, so this can't happen. I said, your body is the lab.
Right,
and
right.
You look at the trillions of bacteria in your intestines, and they love to break down drugs.
Yeah, yeah. Right.
So, okay, you asked where else is the magnesium deficiency? The burn of stress.
Right. Right. Just the extreme.
Driving a car.
Yeah.
I mean, we were not meant to fly up in an airplane.
No.
So every minute you're in an airplane, your body is saying, "Get me down, get me down."
Yes. Yes.
Although,
Constant stress. Yeah.
yeah. So and we don't recognize it anymore. And I don't mean to make people afraid of these things, but what it is your body's constantly adapting.
Right.
If you have enough magnesium, you can adapt to anything.
Wow. Wow.
If you don't, then you start getting the anxiety, getting the panic attacks. I mean, I've been approached by NBA basketball, NFL football players,
Right.
and 6 foot going on to 8.
7 foot.
Yeah, 300 pounds, just in a corner having a panic attack, and
Right.
and they are magnesium deficient.
Yeah.
And the adrenals need magnesium. If they don't have them, they get very erratic.
Right.
You get a low blood sugar attack. You haven't eaten for a while, and that last coffee just puts you over the edge.
Yeah.
So your blood sugar is low. Your adrenals push out adrenaline to go to the liver and get your sugar stores activated, your glycogen in your liver.
Right.
But at the same time, they speed up your heart.
Right.
So you're crossing a bridge, you haven't eaten, you're drinking coffee, your blood sugar's tanked, and you start having a panic. You look over the side, oh my gosh. And that's your panic attack that sends you to the doctor. And then you get on anti-anxiety medications for a couple of years that you can't get off. And when you try to get off them, you're sent to a rehab clinic and put on a Neurontin, a gabapentin drug that really destroys you. Wow. Anyway, it's all those factors.
That's amazing. Now, because this is powerful, and you've seen, like you said, you've changed people's lives. Has the medical community over time become more accepting as these things come true, or has it been really still just beating against the wall?
And I thought in medical school that I was ahead of the curve, but I thought I was leading the troops to the right answers. But no way, it got more and more drug-like. When we started to have television drug ads,
oh my gosh,
game over. We were doomed.
Billions of dollars. And
there are some doctors, I can't, obviously there are alternative doctors, but you go to an alternative medical conference, 200 people max. Right. You go to a cancer conference, 10,000 doctors. Where it's hopeless. It's hopeless. And then, in alternative medicine clinics, they have a lot of overhead. They have to spend a lot of time with people. People can't afford, just to pay for a lot of time. So the overhead of an alt med clinic is 80%, I hear.
Oh, wow.
So they sell supplements.
Right.
And so people end up on a lot of supplements, and with my supplements, I don't wholesale them. They're very expensive to make. So I just keep the cost so that it's affordable for my online customers.
Yes. Yeah.
So I've had feedback about my products that, my patients come in, they love this, it's really helped them, but I can't afford to sell them because you only have a few percentage points. They can't make any money off them.
Right.
So, this is where alternative medicine lies. They can't, they're not covered by insurance. They can't afford to keep practicing without selling supplements that don't always work.
Right.
Like I said, if someone comes to me on 300 supplements and they're suffering, there are a dozen complaints, the first thing I say, I don't think those supplements are working. What do you
One of those 300 are not, none of them are working. They're counteracting each other or just not.
Counteracting. Let me just quickly say about vitamin D.
Right.
I'll have people stabilized on their therapeutic magnesium, and then their doctor, getting wind of the latest fad about vitamin D will do their blood tests and say, oh, you're too low. You want to be real high on your vitamin D. Gives them 10, 20,000 units of vitamin D, and they're magnesium tanks. Why? Because the vitamin D pulls in as much calcium as it possibly can. The calcium counteracts the magnesium, causing all the magnesium deficiency symptoms. I've had people develop, 6-week migraines and go back into their seizuring and angina and their blood pressure elevating because they took vitamin D.
Wow. So you through all your experiences, all your research, all this, you have a line of products that do work, that do help people. You started talking about the magnesium supplements. Tell us a little bit more about some of the things that you have that help people in different ways.
Yeah, I tried to keep it down to a dull roar, Greg, and also low potency.
Okay.
Low potency, high absorption.
Okay.
Codex Alimentaris has affected supplements. Codex is World Trade Organization, World Health Organization, trying to control supplements that pass around the world, that cross borders. They want to make them low potency to mimic supplements like Centrum. and the reason is, and I've been to these meetings in Bonn, Germany, Rome, I heard them say, we don't want supplements to interfere with drugs. So if a supplement is going to help someone and mean they get off the drug, they don't want that.
They don't want it. No, they want to sell the drug.
So what's going to be nailed is high potency, things that may work, may or may not work. But I went for the absorption. So the ReMag, with 60,000 parts per million, 100% absorbed, it's broken down to a picometer size and the ions are stabilized. When that had such incredible results, I asked the chemist to make me a multiple mineral.
Okay.
And I've got a ReMyte, ReMyte, 12 minerals. I've already mentioned 9 of them support the thyroid to the point that people can get off their thyroid medication.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, some people can, maybe some people can't. I could, after 2 months of my own ReMag in the testing stages. I just, my hands were warm again, and I started to get a little more excitable than I already am. And I realized, my thyroid was making its own hormones again, whereas I'd been on 60 milligrams of Armour thyroid for years.
Wow.
And then there's RNA drops. This is something that's very hard to explain. It's a bit of it's a formula for a water purifier that then get transformed into a barley extract. We're still making the water purifier part, but this barley extract, when the people in the factory started tasting it and smelling it and all the rest of it, they started having incredible health improvements.
Oh my gosh.
So we call it the bliss drop sometimes. It's something that has to be tried to be believed because we can't make any claims. So we have a sample size that people can utilize. The Real Line is interesting. That's kind of our gentle detox. It's got methylated bees. So all of a sudden, these people with their MTHFR methylation problems, they can take this. And it's got 2 amino acids, sulfur-based amino acids, because you need sulfur for the sulfur detox in the liver. And the methionine, it is a precursor to glutathione. So glutathione is a major detoxifier. So I say to people, I don't want to chelate you. I don't want you to do purges. You just take the Real Line, and then your body with the sulfur-based amino acids, with the B vitamins and the methyl groups, which are important for the liver methylation pathways, and with the glutathione, your body can decide when it's safe for it to detox itself. Don't force anything. And then there's Restructure. Oh, it's an awesome protein formula.
Okay.
It's a meal replacement. It's got RNA drops powder in it, which makes it incredibly awesome.
Right.
It's got a great taste.
Bliss.
Yeah. Bliss state. Yeah. And it kind of digests itself.
Okay. Yeah.
We have a lot of very ill people who take our products, and they're getting a lot better. So people with gastric bypasses, with weight loss surgeries, they are able to digest this powder. So I'm saying to paleo people, to yeast overgrowth people,
Right.
this is an excellent food source. And when absorption and digestion are such a huge topic now, with people with leaky gut and everything, and all the symptoms, I think it's very much about, what your body can absorb and digest. So that's my focus.
Yeah.
I think, I am making a calcium formula.
Okay.
It's out shortly, but I'm very anti-calcium supplements per se, because what we've had is about 10 studies showing that women who take calcium supplements are at higher risk for heart disease, Hillsborough, kidney stones, breast tissue calcifications, for which then they get all the mammograms and breast biopsies, just for our calcium buildup, because the dirt calciums are only 4% absorbed.
Okay.
Unlike magnesium, which flushes out in the toilet if you have too much, calcium will deposit in your body.
Right. Yes.
And the more vitamin D you have, the more it's grabbed. And it's evolutionary, because we didn't have cows and calcium back in the day. Yeah. And we had seaweed with lots of magnesium. So we had to have a fail-safe to get rid of that extra magnesium. And we had to grab calcium with our vitamin D. So actually, I should say vitamin D should be at the low end of the scale in your testing. And then things like magnesium should be at the high end.
Well, I mean, the amount of knowledge you have, like, we could go on for days, but I'm gonna ask you let me ask you this first, then I'll share where people can find you. If you have a person there, that the busy person that is really not healthy right now, what's the one main thing they can do to take a step towards better health? What is there one? I know there's so many things you can share, because you've healed so many different people, but is there one thing they can do to step towards better health?
Drink water with sea salt or Himalayan or Celtic salt.
Wow. Okay.
Because our water now is so filtered and everything, and people, I'll just drink distilled water. Reverse osmosis water, nothing in it.
Right.
So we're drinking dead water. What happens when you drink dead water is the cells will absorb that water, and without minerals, it just doesn't. The cells don't function. Right. And if you have minerals, even from just, I say a quarter teaspoon of sea salt in a quart of water or a liter of water, but you can build up to that. Start with a pinch. But if you have those 72 minerals that are in sea salt coming into your cells, they'll pull water in behind them and start the cellular functioning. If you don't have minerals in the cells, then you don't have enough water in the cells, and they will shrink and become dehydrated. And where does that water go? Into your ankles. Right. You have fluid retention. Everybody, I have so much. And then what does the doctor do? Gives you a diuretic for your fluid retention to further squish out your
Oh my gosh. So, that's great. Yeah.
Just start with sea salt water. So the water guidelines are important too. Take your body weight in pounds. So if you're 100 pounds, then half of that is 50. And that's 50 ounces of water that you could drink a day to get. And, we need it for so many things, for flushing out. And people say, I can't drink that much. I'll be going to the bathroom all the time. What you'll find is the water and the sea salt, and then hopefully the magnesium and multiple minerals to make it really work. All those minerals will bring the water in. The water will metabolize, and it's no longer water. It's hydrogen and oxygen.
Right. Yeah.
So what goes in is not going to come out.
Yeah.
And people will say, well, gosh, now I can wear the shoes I never could because my fluid's gone, and they don't get up at night to use the bathroom so much.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Right.
Yeah, that is really and nice, and that's very, very easy to implement. That's great. Yeah. Well, there's so much you can share, and I want people not to end here. So if you want to talk to learn more from Dr. Carolyn Dean, you go to drcarolyndean.com, and you can find the products she was talking about. You can find all the things that she offers there. She has a blog that has updated information. There's so much thing. I mean, we could talk for hours because I think I'm learning more every second you speak. I love it. But I really encourage people to go to that website, try out the products, contact her, read the blog, get involved for sure. And Dr. Dean, or Carolyn, you told me to call you Carolyn. Carolyn, thank you so much for coming on the show. You were fantastic. We're going to have to have a second round here coming soon, because that was just fantastic. So thank you for your time.
Oh, and thank you. I could see your brain expanding. And it's a wonderful feeling to know that I'm passing on information. I appreciate the opportunity, and aloha.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful.